welcome back to Getaway Day. As always, I am Mason. He is Galtham. We're here to do our vocal exercises.
Unique New York.
Unique New York. That's it for us tonight. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
At least that's what home plate umpire, I assume Mike Estabrook, probably
I don't
said.
believe it was him.
It wasn't Mike Estabrook. Tell me what happened.
Okay, so Detroit, Chicago playing a game Sunday afternoon, and Nico Hoerner gets rung up on a pitch that's objectively outside of the strike zone. Like it's well inside off the plate and it's low, and it gets called strike three. And Nico Hoerner calmly turns to the ump and he goes, word for word. I'm not embellishing here at all. He says, You're not having a good day so far." And pretty much not a lot of inflection in his voice. And the umpire immediately tosses him from the game. And what does Nico do? He says, "I said you're not having a good day so far." And then that didn't go over well with the umpire. And Craig Counsell comes out and again Nico explains what he's just told the umpire. And Craig gets more mad than Nico, honestly. But just an absurd ejection.
Did Craig get ejected?
Not called for. Yes, he did.
Okay, good.
He got his money's worth. I think he probably used some more choice words than Nico did.
I would laugh so much if Craig Counsell's entire thing was, "You're not having a good day so far."
Yeah. No, he basically, the part that I caught of what Craig Counsell said was, that's nothing. Like, he was just trying to make the case like this is like the lightest offense for an ejection probably ever that I can think of.
There's one that I know there was another one like somewhat recently.
I'm sure
I think it might have
happened.
been last year that was just like completely, oh, yeah, Aaron Boone getting ejected for something a fan said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one. That was arguably worse because he didn't even say it.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, no, this is just so dumb.
Yeah, and the ump was wrong too about the call.
Yeah. I don't know. That's ridiculous. But we're not here to talk about the Cubs. We are instead here to talk a lot about the Eastern divisions today. Holy crap. And I think first and foremost, we probably need to talk about the American League East and something massive that just happened. Number one prospect in the Red Sox organization. Mind you, this year they've called up Christian Campbell and Marcelo Meyer. This is their number one prospect. Roman Anthony gets the call. He is in the lineup tonight. Wilyer Abreu hits the 10-day injured list. So we've now got all three up at the majors. And the Red Sox need this right now. Their offense is struggling. And they're hoping Roman Anthony and that fresh look can be the spark plug they need to get themselves back on track and hopefully back in this division.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Red Sox fans have been asking for a while, where is Roman Anthony? He's just tearing up AAA. You mentioned that he's the number one prospect in the Red Sox system. He's the number one prospect in baseball, and that's why it's especially notable that he wasn't the first guy to get the call of their trio of top prospects. There was Campbell, who made the opening day roster, and then Marcelo Meyer, who got the call when Alex Bregman went down. But Roman Anthony is arguably like the best of the three, and I guess it took an injury for this to happen. And we've talked about the Red Sox kind of like logjam at various positions. So it'll be interesting to see. Probably it sorts itself out, but I'm very interested to see how Roman Anthony does. He seems to have like all the tools. He's like I don't know, he doesn't seem like he has a weakness really. He's got power, he's got contact, he's got speed. He's a great defender. So from day one, I think people are expecting that Roman Anthony is going to be like plug and play star
So
type
I
guy.
think this is very much a similar situation to what we were talking about last week with Jack Caglione. The expectations for him right now, based on how this club is playing, what they need, and what he is billed to be, uh, potentially as a prospect, um, the expectations for him are enormous. This is a club that's a lot of people picked them to possibly win this division, and I think maybe I did too. I don't quite remember. I think I did. Um, but they're scuffling. They're 32 and 35, which has them comfortably in fourth place. Three teams in the or in the AL East, sorry, are um, well above 500, and so they're playing some really stiff competition. But really, their only off times or whenever they're playing the Orioles right now, and that's an Orioles team that can hit. They're just not doing it consistently. So, eh, yeah, this is going to be an interesting first test. Like we saw what happened with Cags there in the first series. Like he did not come out of the gate and hit three home runs like people were hoping that he could. He I think went 0 for 5 in his first game, and then he got his first hit in game two, but I think he's still not got his first home run
He
yet.
had a I don't think he's hit the first home run. He did go 4 for 4 yesterday.
He did.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, the talent's there. I have no doubt in my mind, but it takes time, and I think people forget that. Like, I saw quite a few people across different social media platforms that, um, like, were saying like, "Oh, card collectors thought this guy was gonna be good." It's like he's played 3 games.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just funny that people still have this reaction, even though it's just so commonplace. And you should know this. I guess like
yeah.
nobody. How many of these guys are hits from day one? Like
But we have been
almost none of
spoiled
them.
in the last few years with guys who have been hits from day one.
Yeah,
Like
but it's not a
it,
long list though.
it's not, but there's been enough that now people are like, oh, everyone's gonna do it. No, those three circumstances were wild. Like that does not happen.
Wait, which three guys are you thinking of?
Bobby Witt Jr., Gunner, and Julio, and Ellie. So I guess there's four.
Well, I don't know. Like I feel like even those guys within their first seasons, they had struggles to start.
Yeah, but two
It
of them
wasn't
had
like
2020s in their rookie season, and like
yeah, that's true.
they definitely lived up to the hype at the time. And you looked at it and went, and they're not, or they're just getting started. But then we've seen Christian Campbell start hot for the first like week, and then pitchers adjusted because there was something to scout, and then he went cold.
Hey man, you got to give him more credit. He had a good month, and then it's been a struggle.
Well, okay, yes, but
But yeah, yeah, point well taken. Like yeah, it's hard, and usually the league adjusts pretty fast to these guys. They have to adjust back, of course. But Roman Anthony, I mean, I want to. I mean, it feels like the Red Sox season is slipping away, and they've got to do something. They cannot. I mean, Willie Abreu has been one of their best hitters this year. They cannot just like accept a major letdown at that position. They need they need some juice. They need Roman Anthony to produce.
I think saying one of might actually be doing Willier a disservice. Hasn't he been their best hitter?
I mean, Devers and Bregman have been phenomenal.
True. Okay, yeah, I guess Carlos Narvaez has actually been a better hitter than Hillier as well.
He's been pretty good, yeah.
And he's also played 50 games. There's a couple guys that have higher WRC pluses, but like Romy's only played 23 games. Ref Snyder and Toro about 25 ish.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a strange season for the Red Sox. It feels like they should be a lot better than they are, but it just all the pieces have not really worked together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see what happens here.
And then they just went up against the Yankees here this weekend. And who's that rookie pitcher that pitched yesterday for the Red Sox?
Hunter Dobbins?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
this
one that said
idiot.
some stuff.
This idiot.
It's funny.
It's hysterical. But
Yeah,
this dude is a rookie in the
yeah,
MLB
yeah.
that I don't think anyone's ever heard of.
I have, but
I,
yeah, no,
yeah, but
not
you're
many have
weird.
heard of this guy.
You're
I'm
weird.
weird.
I, maybe have a couple good starts under your belt before you say that, because then he immediately gave up a bomb to Judge, which I mean,
Wait,
who doesn't?
well, I was gonna say, wait, you didn't say what he said. So Hunter Dobbins basically said, if the Yankees were the last team to offer me a contract,
I would retire.
I would retire. And he's a 25-year-old rookie pitcher. And then he went out there and he beat the Yankees. So props to Hunter Dobbins. He backed up his words. And I feel like it's awesome because it like adds some juice to the rivalry, which maybe is like stagnating these days. Like you don't hear about Yankees Red Sox being like a heated rivalry anymore.
Yeah,
Bring it back.
I just wish that I would have got that from Devers instead of Devers fighting with his own club. Um, but because Hunter Dobbins, come on, give me a guy who's at least played 3 games.
Oh,
Let him say it.
I love the confidence.
The
Though.
Dan
It's just
Rafaela
fun.
come out here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just weird to me. Rob Ref Snyder. Although he was a Yankee, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
That'd be funny if he said it then.
That would be pretty funny. Hey,
Oh,
but the Red Sox did go out and they won 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. So it kind of shows, yeah, this team is not like dead yet.
no, and I mean, they're only 4 games out of the wild card. Like, they're very much still in this.
Yeah.
But they need to get something going right now. All right. What do you say we go ahead and switch gears just a little bit? We're gonna stay in the East, but let's go to the National League. And I think I kind of just want to start with just reading the standings from top to bottom. Mets. Then 4.5 games, Phillies. Then 7 games, Nationals. Then 2.5 games. Then you finally see the Atlanta Braves. And then it's only 2.5 more games to the Miami Marlins. What stands out to you about that?
I mean, the Braves being in 4th place, that's obviously the sticking out like a sore thumb. That's insane. I think I picked the Braves to win the division. I was expecting big bounce backs from their offense after they kind of had a down year last year. And, they were going to get Acuna back and Strider back. It seemed like the Braves are still kind of the top dog. That was the case that I was trying to make in spring training. And lots of things have gone very poorly for the Braves, which I think we're going to get into here.
Yeah, I think the first thing I want to mention is just off of what you just said, getting Acuna back is massive for this club. And in the 15 games he's been back, it has paid off.
It's paid off, but
From
they're
hit,
like 3.
hold on. Let me make my point before you interject
Okay.
and make my point for me. But
He's been good. Yeah.
Acuna in 15 games, slashing 304, 391, 554, a 161 WRC plus, and 4 home runs. He's striking out a lot, but he's also walking a ton. So Ronald Acuna coming back from injury, which I believe was an ACL tear, right?
Yeah, it was his other knee, the one he had not torn previously. Uh, but yeah, it seems like he knew what to do in rehab. It's almost like doing the second one was easier because he knew exactly what the recovery would be like. And last time when he came off the ACL injury, it basically took him a whole year to get back to like MVP level. And this year it seems like he's like just come out like running. He's not literally running, stealing bases, but he's doing all the Ronald Acuna hitting things that he would normally do.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a plus defender still, and like he's doing all the things you expect from Ronald with the exception of the steals. And honestly, I don't blame him for that. I would be a little ginger on that knee too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so Ronald has been awesome.
What's their record in that time?
That is a much different story. Uh they've won like 2 or 3 games in the
I
15 that
think I
he's been back.
saw I has he played 15 games? I thought he had only played
Yes.
like 11.
He's played 15.
Okay. I saw somewhere like 3-8 or something, but that's obviously not right.
Well,
But they have not
they're
won a
on a
lot of
7
games.
game losing streak, so they've lost all the games since.
Yeah.
So 3 and whatever that would be. So, but the other guy that came back from injury that was going to be a massive windfall for this club, Spencer Strider, has been the complete opposite of what you're getting from the return of Acuna. He does not look even remotely like the same pitcher, even down to just his arm angle is different from pre Tommy John, um, where he was always a very not really over the top. He was at about 40 between 45 and 49 degrees. So basically a complete
That's
here.
pretty over the top.
Yeah. And now he's dropped it down to about 41 degrees. So he's kind of going more into a 3/4 slot now. And along with that, he's seen a velo drop of about 2 to 3 mile an hour. He's seeing like 2 to 3 inches less movement on his changeup, and horizontal break on his slider. And it is not resulted in anything like what you would see from Spencer Strider. I think
Yeah.
pre-injury, his strikeout rate was like mid to high 30s, right?
Yeah, I think he had a 36% strikeout rate in the Cy Young year in
Thir-
2023 when he was
38%.
38%. Okay.
Yep. Um, it is 22% in the 5 games that he has started since coming back. 25 innings, he has a 5.4 ERA. He's given up 5 home runs. And he was always super good at limiting home runs because nobody can make contact with his stuff.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing like zone contact rates against Spencer Strider are 10% higher than they've been at any other point in his career. Like he's physically healthy-ish, but something is not quite back yet.
Yeah. Let me just add one other thing here. So when he first came back this year, basically after his first start, I think he got injured again. He had the hamstring injury and he missed like 4 weeks. Then he came back, and I think his velocity has dropped since that very first start. So you almost wonder if the hamstring is still bugging him a little bit. But overall, yeah, he does not have the velocity. That's the number one thing I notice. I looked into it a little bit more too, just on like the locations, looking at like his heat map. When he was at his peak in the Cy Young year, all his fastballs were like right at the top of the zone, and he was missing like the center of the plate. He was just pinpoint top of the zone. He was locating all his pitches there. And then his sliders would be on the outside part of the plate for right-handed batters. And now a lot of his sliders are like falling right in the middle part of the zone. So it's almost like along with the decreased velocity, he doesn't quite have the command back either. And he's not able to like miss the heart of the zone. And I think people are starting to tee off on those pitches. And when you are a two pitch pitcher, you kind of have to be on point with that, with the command. Um, and then obviously not having as much velocity, it's just easier to hit, right?
Yeah. And I know I'm sticking on this point, and it's very possible that it's just a completely useless thing to stick on. But the the change in arm slot really intrigues me. I'm
Yeah.
curious if that is something that is to help in the rehab and help protect his arm, or if that is a side effect of him not quite having his mechanics figured out yet.
Well,
Because
I'll give
that
you another theory, I guess. I think it could be intentional. I think um, a lot of times when people go low slot, they are looking to get more ride on their fastball. And I think I saw that like his fastball has more horizontal movement to it with that low slot. So think about someone like Jacob DeGrom, who has always had a really low slot, and he's able to still throw really hard. And that pitch is like it's got the rising effect to it. So it almost seems like that's what Strider is trying to find.
it would explain the decrease in vertical movement on
Yeah.
his changeup and his slider as
Yes.
well. Um, which I mean, if he's changing that intentionally, he definitely has some other mechanical things that he needs to figure out. But if I were him, I would have gone back to if it was healthy for his elbow, I would have tried to go back to what he was doing before the injury. Because
That's fair. Yeah.
yeah, because over the top was very much working for him.
Yeah.
Like when that changeup just drops out of the floor, it's impossible to hit. Well, now it's just hanging middle, and it's getting crushed. But
Yeah.
you know,
He's got to do something different, especially with the reduced velocity. It seems like he's trying to have more pitches, like throwing more of the changeup and the
yeah, he's
what's the
he's
other
throwing
pitch?
both his curveball and his changeup
Curveball.
in the same season, which he's not done before. He's always been like 3 pitches max. Now he's got 4, but none of them are really working yet.
Yeah.
He's an incredibly talented pitcher. I think he'll figure it out.
I think so too.
But right now, this team is in absolute free fall. They kind of need him to figure it out sooner than. I mean, the rotation aside from him has been pretty solid though. Like Chris
Yep.
Sale, coming off a Cy Young season last year, is looking incredible again this year. Um, Spencer Schwellenbach, he's a rookie, right?
He's a rookie last year.
Last year, but he is looking very, very good. And then they're getting some pretty good starts out of Bryce Elder and Grant Holmes.
Grant Holmes. Yep.
I wanted to say Clay Holmes, and I knew that was wrong. But and then unfortunately, something I just learned, AJ Smith Shaver, who has been very good for them,
Yeah.
got Tommy John surgery today. So he's gonna be out for a year to a year and a half.
That's
But
one that definitely sucks because it looked like he was actually figuring stuff out and then he just blew out. But yeah, I think one of the Braves' strengths is being able to develop these pitchers. They've done a good job with guys like even like Bryce Elder. Like he's not an ace by any means, but they actually get good production from him. They seem like they develop Schwellenbach, Smith Shawver. They're not even like uh, top talents, but they've done a lot to improve them. They're getting legit like contributions from them.
so
I want to talk about the offense though.
I
I
was gonna
feel
say
like
one more note on the pitching though. This is something that I've actually kind of been thinking about a little bit. Is it just me, or does it seem like the Braves don't know how to rehab pitchers correctly? Because they've had incredible pitchers, and then they go down to massive injury. And I'm thinking like Mike Soroka. So far, what we're seeing from Strider, and when they come back, like they just kind of can't figure it out anymore. Soroka has been on the White Sox and couldn't stick, and now I think he's maybe with the Nats. But
yeah, he's
like
been doing better with the
I
Nets.
I would be curious to see what happens with Smith Shawver if that kind of thing happens again. And obviously, there's still time here for Strider.
I was
And
gonna say the
Strider
Soroka
and
one's a
Soroka are
freak
not
one.
quite the same.
Soroka injury was a freak one because he tore his Achilles and then he tore his Achilles again doing rehab.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. It just
But yeah,
it's something that I've noticed a couple of times. And so and I know that they've got some other problems that it seems like Alex Anthopoulos is starting to mess with, which I think is what we're talking about next. At least to a point. But yeah, this lineup though, it
yeah.
just I'm not gonna guide you anywhere. I don't want to bias you. Tell me your thoughts on this lineup.
Okay, so for years and years now, it feels like we've been praising the Braves for all the core stability that they have, the youth, the talent, the power, the speed. I mean, the Braves are like the model of like a stable lineup because they've locked in all their guys. They played every day. Everybody loves to see that. And now, for whatever reason, it just feels stagnant. It feels like they cannot upgrade anywhere just because they're stuck with their guys. Like Michael Harris is signed through 2030. Ozzy Albies is signed for like multiple more years. Those guys I'm specifically calling out because they have not been good this year at all. Specifically Harris, who's got like a OPS under 600 this year. Um, and then even guys like Riley and Olson,
He's not that bad. 603.
603. Okay, bumped it up like yesterday or something. Yeah. And then Riley and Olson, your big boppers, they're good players, but they're not playing at the level that they were a couple years ago. And to me, it seems like now we've seen basically all of 2024 and then now 2+ months of 2025 that are telling me that this Braves club is not going to get back to 2023 record-breaking offense. It's more realistic to not. We cannot expect that from this lineup anymore. It's just we got to change those expectations. Even though we've been continuing to say like they can get back to it, they can get back to it. They have all this talent, and that's all true. But I guess the projections have to change at some point. And I've seen a lot of like stagnant offense for this club over the last couple of years now.
Yeah. And I monitor just shut off on me, so I can't. There we go. Came back. Now I can read my stats. But Olson and Riley have like they have been some of the best hitters on this club still. Like they're not the
Mm-hmm.
same guys that they were in 23, but like Olson is OPSing 802, Riley 782. Those are respectable numbers.
They're good players, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and like they're well above average hitters. They're both over 10 home runs already. Then you throw in Marcell Ozuna, who is doing kind of the same thing he's done for the Braves for the last like 4 years, it seems.
Yeah.
He's got 10 home runs,
I point at
260
the outfield.
average,
What's going
830.
on with that outfield?
That is that is the question. Now, getting Acuna back is huge for that outfield because now, well, I guess Ozuna is just a DH now, isn't he?
Yes, he has not played the field in a while.
But Acuna and Wright is really about the only thing that you can pencil in on any given day. After the four guys that I've already mentioned, Drake Baldwin, who is just incredible for
He's so
how the
good.
Braves are
Yeah.
this year. I don't really need the qualifier. He just is playing incredibly. Um, 42 games, slashing 303, 351, 508, 7 home runs. He should be in the lineup every single day. I don't care if you have to put Marcell Ozuna in left to get Drake Baldwin DHing. You need the offense right now. You can give up some runs if you can drive in a lot more runs. And having both Ozuna and Baldwin in the lineup together every day with Sean Murphy, who his average is terrible. Rest of his
He's been okay
numbers,
though.
really solid.
Yeah.
Um, so if you can get those three with Acuna, with an Olsen and Riley that are still good hitters, you now have a top six in your order, actually pretty good and doing some stuff. Then is when we get to the steaming pile of dog poop burning on the front stoop.
Give me
That is
some
the
names. Who are those guys that they've gone through this year?
mm,
I can think of Jared Kelenic, Brian De La Cruz,
uh,
um,
Eli
Eli
White,
White.
Stuart
Yep.
Fairchild,
Yeah.
Orlando Arcia, although he's an infielder, isn't he? Eddie
He's also
Rosario
been
for three
cut.
games.
Yeah.
Let's see, Luke Williams. I mean Profar for 4 games before he got his PED suspension. Um,
Yeah, good call there because he'll be back pretty soon here, and that could actually be like the biggest addition they get.
he got an 80 game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so he'll be
he'll be back in a couple of weeks.
around the end of June.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, they need him badly. Um, because after Sean Murphy, there is a 30-point drop in WRC plus between Murphy and the next best hitter on the club. That takes you from 15% above average to 15% below average.
Wow, that's really interesting. So they're basically not getting any just average guys. They're getting their good players, and then they're getting a bunch of really bad performances.
Yes, and really, after Ozzy Albies, there is another pretty substantial drop off of another like 10%.
Oh no.
So yeah, it's Ozzy Albies is right this year, and he's very comfortably their number 7 hitter. Number 6 because they don't play Baldwin every day or Murphy. So
What do we do though? What do we do about the Braves? Like, are they going to figure this out? Can they make moves, or are they just kind of hamstrung by the situation of their roster?
I mean,
I I actually have an idea. What do you think of this? What if you were talking about the possibility of putting Ozuna on the field, which I do not want to do. What if you trade Sean Murphy? You have a good young catcher in Baldwin. Murphy's almost a redundancy, and you can go get an outfielder.
honestly, that is the move they should make. Is it the
Yeah,
move they're gonna make? I don't know.
I
If
don't
they
think
do,
so.
it's going to be a lot closer to the deadline.
I
And
feel
they've
like the
got
Braves like having two catchers because they've done this in the past. They've had Murphy and Darno for years.
yeah, and then
They
they
just
had
like to
Darno
have
and
two catchers.
McCann, and they had
Yep.
like
Wait, who's that other catcher that they had? Bef-
was it one of the Rogerses?
Rogers is.
Wasn't there Jake Rogers for Detroit, and there was another something Rogers for
I don't know.
but they had Shea Langoliers in their system for a long time, and
Yeah,
like they love catchers down in Atlanta.
they do.
Yet
They had
they've
William.
somehow
That's who it was.
oh William, yeah.
Yeah,
How did we forget him?
I know. He is like the best one.
But yeah, I mean, if they do trade Sean Murphy, which I think would be the best thing they could do, is they could get some pretty solid return for that. If I were
I think
them,
so.
I would be looking for a major league outfielder,
Yes. Yeah.
straight up. Um, Forget the prospects. You've got plenty of those, and you don't have anywhere to put them anyway. You have two massive holes in the outfield right now.
Yeah. I would get
So
Cedric Mullins. That would be a good fit for them.
I agree. I don't know that you can get Mullins for Murphy because of Adley and Samuel
Yeah.
Basalo.
Yeah, I don't know why they would want Murphy. It's
So
going to be hard. It's always hard to find a fit for a catcher
yeah.
because nobody really wants to trade for a catcher in the season.
Now what they could do, Sean Murphy, Mike Trout, and then have
Oh,
Sean
yes.
Murphy play first and let O'Hoppe stay the catcher.
Okay.
I
I love these wild proposals. They're amazing.
I I'm here for it. Let's do it. But yeah, this Braves club though, I don't know what to do with them, man. Like
I don't
they
either.
they fired their third base coach and bench coach, and they brought back Freddie Gonzalez, who was the manager before Brian Snitker. He is
Yeah,
now the third base coach, and is he the bench coach or just the third base coach at the moment?
I don't know.
But it's almost like they don't trust Snit anymore.
They don't. That's the other part we haven't even discussed. It seems like Snit is like on the way out.
But
He's gonna be like retiring or forced to retire or something.
here's the thing. What has Snit necessarily done with this shit show that he's been given that says, "Oh, he's the problem"?
I don't know.
He's not the
This
one that
almost
signed every single player to a 6-year extension.
no, but he's not. It doesn't feel like he's getting the most out of the roster. This almost feels like the situation where I do want to give some blame to the manager. Like you got this amount of talent and you're not able to extract it.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Change up the coaching staff, see if maybe getting. Yeah, I guess that's what the Cardinals have been trying to do the last couple years, and finally they found a combination that seems to be helping, and Brant Brown and some of the other guys, and now we see what's happened with that club. It was massively underperforming, and
Yeah,
so okay, I think I'm buying in.
yeah.
I'm buying
I'm
in.
not saying
Freddie
that
Gonzalez
Snit
for
is like
manager.
that would be hilarious
It would
if
be.
that happened. Yeah. All right.
Oh, what do you say we give the Braves a break and we trash another team for a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
So out of that uh standings that I read out, the other thing that stands out to me is the fact that if you looked at this 10 days ago, the Phillies had a 3.5 game lead over the Mets. 10 days later, 4.5 games behind the Mets. They have
That's
lost
hard to do.
nine of their last 10, or well, they've lost 9 of their last 11 games. Um, they've lost their last 5. I think they're
They're
no, they
tied
they
right
blew
now.
the save.
Yep.
So they're now tied with the Cubs as we speak. Although they do have a runner on first and one out. So maybe they'll walk it off. Who knows? But this Phillies club has had an anemic offense the last like 2 weeks. They've scored over 4 runs twice in this 11 game skid. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's very interesting and it almost so one key guy that they're missing right now, Bryce Harper. He's on the IL with this wrist injury that's been bugging him for a while.
It's actually the
And
same wrist injury as last season.
correct, yeah. So he's just going to try to take some time off. Hopefully that can heal him or at least get him feeling better. But it almost feels like the lineup is like desperately missing a Bryce Harper because um, outside of a few folks, the Phillies also have a serious outfield issue, and they've had this now for like multiple seasons. Where Castellanos, he's a decent hitter. He gives you decent production, but his fielding's so bad, it's almost like canceling out his overall value. And then they get nothing from their other outfielders like Johan Rojas. Brandon Marsh has been terrible this year. Um, I can't even. Who are the other guys that they've even used? Oh, Kepler. The Kepler experiment has not worked out. I was kind of
Is
excited
Marchand
about.
an outfielder?
Yeah, Marsh is an outfielder.
Cody Clemens.
He's not on the team anymore.
Well, not now. He's on the Twins now.
Yeah.
Um, Outfield. They've not really rocked out all that many guys. I have no idea who this Cal Stevenson guy is, or Otto
Oh,
Kemp.
he's the guy from years ago. He used to be on like the
Oh, Weston
what
Wilson.
team? Weston Wilson is now taking more playing time because Marsh has been so bad. I mean, when you got like you basically have like a black hole in your lineup with your center fielder and your left fielder every single day.
Yeah, like everything that you get offensively from Castellanos lose with uh Johan Rojas.
Yeah.
Then everything you lose defensively from Castellanos, you gain back with Johan Rojas. So basically, those guys are replacement level player combined. Is
Yeah.
kind of what it just is. But I'm actually looking at the overall hitting stats for the team,
Yeah.
and the Braves are honestly better, like
Yeah.
hitting wise.
Did the
Because
Phillies just get old? Like, is that what's going on here?
I mean, I can't even say that because the old guys are the ones that are still playing well.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
Schwarber's played well.
Schwarber's been incredible. He's at 20 home runs already at age 32, 157 WRC plus, batting 352, on base like 378. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Harper
Yeah, so
has
he's not the
been
problem. I
Harper.
guess the guy I was kind of thinking of was JT Realmuto, who does not look like he's the
Yes,
same guy
JT
anymore.
JT definitely got old. He's hitting 223, 292, 355. His off or
Yeah.
his defensive value isn't as high as it used to be. Just
He's coming up on his free agency. I'm very interested to see what he gets. He almost feels like he's going to be like a buy low 1 year deal type guy.
he's also 34 already.
Yeah, yeah, no,
So
that's what I'm saying.
he is
Old.
the oldest player on this club that is a position player. Zach Wheeler is the only guy on the club that is older than him.
Yeah.
But like Turner, Schwarber, and Harper are all 32, and they're still
I guess
playing well. But
I agree they're playing well, but I also feel like Turner, it may be like the best is behind him. Like good batting average and everything, but power is down and just
yeah,
feels like
and I think Bryce is like within a year or two of the inflection point as well. Like I definitely think the best is behind them for everyone but Schwarber.
yeah, and Schwarber is also a free agent at the end of the year.
So I don't know what you do with this club either, because the only guys that are doing anything for you hitting wise, well, some of them, if they lose their position because you trade for somebody that's actually worth anything, now where are you going to put them? I suppose you.
Yeah.
Well, no, Schwarber's the full time DH, so you can't DH both him and Castellanos. What if we put Schwarber back at catcher? We DH Castellanos. Trey stays at short. Harper stays at first. Then we trade for some real outfielders. I have a thought here. Um, we're going to trade Mick Abel, Mike Trout.
I like it.
Okay. So that gives us another off hurt outfielder.
We got to send Mike Trout back to Philly. He
Yes,
would love that.
he would.
Hey, what do you think about moving uh Schwarber to first and Bryce back to the outfield? I feel like they were talking about
I,
doing that at
I
one
actually
point.
would be interested in seeing that. And to be honest, I would see if Edmundo Sosa can go and play in the outfield.
Yeah, he actually is. The Phillies really like him, and he's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Like he's he's the closest thing to an average hitter that they have um this year so far, but he is a very solid player. Like he is definitely like worth rostering. I think if you could get him into the outfield where he is in the lineup every day, because he only plays every other day. He platoons. Um,
Yeah,
but honestly, at this point, see if you can transition him to left field. I think he's played some left in the past. Um, but yeah, I mean, they got to figure something out. I think the infield is going to be a lot easier to pop guys in there.
yeah, but Stott has struggled. Bohm has struggled. It's like it's not ideal.
Anyone that was a rookie in 2021 or like the very end, well, I guess it wouldn't have been the very end. The entire thing was the very end of 2020. Uh, None of them panned out. for any club. Have you noticed that?
So who would you rather be, the Braves or the Phillies, like going forward for the future?
I mean, you basically have a clean slate if you're the Phillies.
You don't though, right? You still got these guys for a while.
I mean, most of these guys, Schwarber's a free agent at the end of the year.
Schwarber and
Um,
Real Muto, yes.
Real Muto's a free agent. That's most of the cash you've got. Kepler is only on like a 1 or 2 year deal.
Yeah, but I'm
Um,
thinking about like their core guys, right? They still got Harper, Bohm, Stott, Turner, Wheeler, Nola. So basically, the same team's going to be back.
yeah, but Bowman Stott aren't on long term deals, are they?
No, no, they're just on their regular rookie deals.
Yeah. So honestly, I I would say those don't really affect the whole clean slate idea until you've locked them up long term. I don't know. It kind of seems like the Phillies are past their window,
Yeah,
and I
they've got
think
to really retool.
it is time for a retool here. And while I love Schwarber, they have so many holes that I think they honestly should let Schwarber go and then see if they can fill some of these other holes.
Yeah, the guy they really need to sign is Kyle Tucker. Like that would be the perfect fit for this team.
Yes, it would. How old's he? 29? Going into his.
28, 29. Yeah.
So, but I think the other thing to note here is that the anemic offense isn't the only thing that's really hurting the Phillies recently. The other thing is their relief staff. This is this is a club that overall pitching stats, starting, relieving combined, is basically between 14 and 16 every stat you can imagine. But they are fifth, tied for fifth in blown saves. They are down middle of the road for converted saves. They blew another save tonight. Now they're in extra innings against the Cubs. Like, this is a club that even when they do scratch runs across, they have a late lead, they can't hold it. And
Yeah.
that's a big part of the reason that they are in free fall right now. Like, they're still 9 games above 500. They have some room to spare here. They went on a 9 game winning streak that ended, and then they immediately went on this like or 1-10 stretch. So they gained a lot of ground. So this massive like downturn is not quite as big as it seems.
Yeah. And the Phillies got a lot of plaudits for their building of their bullpen that Dombrowski did last year, where, you know, several years ago, we were talking about the Phillies having one of the worst bullpens in the league. They slowly continued to improve it year after year. By 2024, they had the best bullpen they had pretty much had ever had, with guys like Alvarado and Orion Kirkering and
Matt Strom.
um, Bastrrom. And now with Alvarado suspended, Matt Strom's like the only guy that they can go to get out left-handed hitters, and that it doesn't work so well because none of the righties have been good at all against left-handed hitters. I'm thinking of like Jordan Romano, Kirkering, and um, there's one other guy, but yeah, it's not like it's been a super inspiring group of relievers this year.
Would you believe me if I told you Weston Wilson is their let's see. One, three, their fifth best reliever that is still actively on the roster.
I would not believe you.
He has pitched 3 innings across 2 games. He has a 0 ERA, a 307 FIP, 250 BABIP. He has left 100% of runners on base.
Are we sure Weston Wilson's an outfielder and he's not actually a relief pitcher?
I think he's is a two-way guy.
He's a two-way guy.
He has exactly 0 WAR, which is way more than Jose Ruiz, Carlos Hernandez, Alan Rangel, and Joe Ross, Max Lazar can say.
Wow. I'm just amazed by this conversation, honestly. Are we all of a sudden like super negative on the Phillies and the Braves, which is
Yeah.
a unique.
I mean, I very much coming into this thought that I was going to find something that was an easy fix for the Phillies and then they were going to take off.
Yeah,
I'm realizing now that I have way more hope for the Braves, who are
interesting.
10 games behind the Phillies.
See, I think I still have more faith in the Phillies because we haven't really talked about their starting pitching. I think their starting pitching is even better than the Braves. Behind Wheeler, Nola when he comes back, Christopher Sanchez, and um, who's the other guy? Oh,
Tawan Walker.
Luzardo. Yeah,
And
I
then
think those
the
guys like
recent debut of McAble, who in his first
McCable,
2
who's been
appearances
really
has looked
awesome.
very good.
Yeah, so that group is like top tier. I think they are like a top 5 staff in the league.
Yes, but
But
and I have two different buts. Would you like to start with 1 or 2?
uh, 2.
Okay. 2, uh unless your pit or your starting rotation is pitching all 9 innings, you're leaving a lot up to chance here with the bullpen that we just mentioned. Weston Wilson is one of their top 5 guys. That, like, no matter how good that starting staff is, that just reminds me of the Mets of old, with Syndergaard, with DeGrom, with Wheeler, and so they had a 4th guy. But
Well, it kind of reminds me of them themselves, right? Like from 2022, that
yeah,
year where they made the World Series where they had a horrible bullpen.
yeah. But they also had an offense that was doing something that year.
Yeah, that's
Whereas
the difference,
now
I guess.
they don't have run support at the moment. They don't have a relief staff that you can reliably hand the ball to and say, just please, for the love of God, keep this 1-run lead. So they're kind of screwed. Like that's butt number 2. Butt number 1 was the recent 2-start stretch for Jesus Luzardo, where he gave up a combined 20 runs. He was incredible prior to those 2 starts. Maybe this is just like he has a blister or something, something's not working, he's tipping his pitch, I don't know. Maybe he'll
Yeah,
figure it out, everything works out, and he still has pretty good season-long numbers. But that also could be
that's a
he's
third
playing.
butt, man.
Oh, well, sorry. This no, that still is a but. And he might
And
be playing through an injury. Like,
yeah,
it, I just see that drastic change that has stayed for 2 starts, and that tells me something is possibly very not right here. Not just
mhm.
it's a bad day. It's 2 bad days in a row. That could be a coincidence. We'll see here in his next start what happens. I kind of think he might end up on a 15-day IL, is my
Yeah, that
guess.
wouldn't not be surprising.
I think he's probably going to end up with a PRP injection, inflammation of his shoulder,
Oh my
elbow.
goodness! Don't speak that into existence.
I it's what this looks like though. Like, this situation has happened before.
But there's no like physical effects like that that
There's
have
no indicators
his
in his
velocity
underlying
his
numbers.
velocity has not been down in the 2 starts. It's been still
What about
high.
his control?
Um,
I mean, his
I think
control
he's
has to
been
be
getting
off
hit
if he's
around.
getting, yeah. But
Yeah.
like, I'm curious if is he not getting spin? Like,
Well, I
is
don't
a
know what he said after the second start. I do know after the first start, he was concerned that he might have been tipping pitches, and he was going to look into that. He
okay?
said
So
he
it could
felt
be a tipping
fine,
pitches.
and then he also said that, yeah, basically like I'm healthy. I don't know what happened. I'm trying to figure it out.
I
I
mean,
don't know what happened after the second start.
one of them was against the Brewers. I would not put it past him to be banging on a trash can, specifically
Yeah,
against Jesus Luzardo and
yeah.
nobody else.
Nobody else.
Yeah, I just calls them as I sees them. So, I mean, we just talked pretty negatively about two very good
Yeah.
franchises. What do you say we close this thing out by talking really highly about another recently rejuvenated franchise?
But it's more fun to talk negatively about the Mets.
I know, but I can't do three negatives in a row. Let's
No,
give them
and
something here.
yeah, I
Um,
mean, we have to give them a lot of credit. I mean, what's their record? They're like 40 and
42 and 24. There are three
42 and
teams that
24.
have reached the 40 win mark so far. The Detroit Tigers, 43
The
and
Cubs.
24. The Chicago Cubs, 40 and 25, although did this game just end or
Nope, it's still going. It's still the 11th inning.
um potentially 41 and 25, potentially 40 and 26, we'll see. And then the Mets, 42 and 24. So, uh they're 8 and 2 in their last 10. Like I said, the Phillies were 1 and 9 in their last 10. The Braves were 2 and 8. So, the Mets have made up so much ground and they are starting to take a commanding lead in this division. And I mean, they have an incredible pitching staff. They have only given up 217 runs this year, which I think is the best in the major leagues.
I think they've got the best pitching staff, yeah,
The
by the
Rangers are
numbers.
the only club that has given up uh, under 220 besides the Mets. The Mets are number one. Um, yeah, like Kodai Senga, that Ghost Fork, he's so good. And I feel like nobody's talking about their rotation this year because, to be honest, I didn't realize they were this good until I was looking at it today. But their rotation is just incredible. Their um, their relief staff is they only have two guys in their entire pitching staff with a negative WAR, and that is one short start from Blade Tidwell, um, and one 3 inning relief appearance from Jose Arena.
Yeah. It's
Those are
very
the
interesting because
only
they're
negative
doing
values.
they're doing it without like an ace, quote unquote ace. They're doing it with like
I mean, I
Tyler
would say
McGill and
Senga.
Senga's the closest, but I don't know. For me, he's like a solid number two.
Solid number two that's playing like a very good number one.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's outperforming his numbers by quite a bit. Like his
Probably his
ERA
strikeout
is 159,
his strikeout
his
rate is
FIP is
not that high,
329. Yeah.
but I don't know. Like he's done this a couple of times now. Not to this stifling level of an ERA, but he's always been good when he's healthy. So you're
That's true.
probably
Yeah.
right. He probably is a number two. This is a team of number twos, and Clay Holmes,
It's a
Griffin Canning.
Yeah, it's a team of like number fours to me. It look like to me like Tyler McGill, David Peterson, Griffin Canning. Those guys are like all number fours, but then they all have been amazing. Like there's no other way to say it. Like I I'm I'm really impressed by the Mets' ability to do this year after year. I'm thinking about a guy like Severino. Like, Severino had a great year with the Mets, and then he goes to Sacramento, and he's terrible again.
Yeah, but I
So
mean, we also all looked at that stadium and went, this might not work out.
yeah, I mean, obviously stadium plays into that, but he hasn't been good either. It's like the Mets the Mets really do have a competency to do this stuff
Yeah, and then they've
with
got
pitchers.
like Huascar Brazaban, AJ Mentor, Reed Garrett, and Edwin Diaz have all been locked down.
Yeah.
Edwin Diaz has been the worst of those four.
Yeah.
And he's still Edwin Diaz doing Edwin Diaz things. He doesn't give up home runs. He strikes out a lot of guys. Like, there's a lot going right for this club. And this one was an and. Like that? Trying something new.
You're allowed more butts. We're on a new team now.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
But let's see who's playing poorly on the offensive side. But Jose Siri,
He's injured.
so is Vientos, so I can't really talk bad about him. Okay, I'm just gonna have to go back to the ands. And Juan Soto's starting to get hot.
Yeah.
So Juan Soto
Well,
started out the like he wasn't playing badly at any point. He just wasn't doing Juan Soto things. And I think a lot of people were a little bit Yankees fans were having a great time with Soto not doing Soto things right off the bat. But if you look at the there's another but. I found it. If you look at the game logs over the course of the year, Soto's been starting to have a lot more games where he's got multiple hits. He's got home runs. He's got WRC pluses in the 200s, 300s, 700s for individual games.
he was on base 6 times on Sunday, which is, I believe, a career high.
Yeah. Three
So he's
hits,
fine. I was never worried.
3 hits and 3 walks. Yeah. And he's got 11 home runs, 12 doubles, 57 hits, walks more than he strikes out.
Yeah.
Walks
There's no flaws
19% of the
here.
time. He's very much still Juan Soto. Now he's Juan Soto. It's on base all the time, and I love it. So the
Yeah.
Mets very much are in a good spot here.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to comment on like the depth that the Mets seem to have that's kind of different than the Phillies and the Braves because I can't really think of a lot of like top prospects that are waiting in the wings for those teams. With the Mets, it seems like when a guy goes down, they recently had Vientos go on the IL. They've had Brett Beatty step in, and Ronnie Mauricio recently got called up, and he's been doing some stuff.
And
So
Luis
it's
Angel
like,
Acuna has been up the whole year, and he's been looking pretty solid.
yeah, they
Well,
have
I
plenty of
guess
guys.
overall his numbers are maybe not as good as I thought, but
Yeah, it's
defensively
just
he looks
like
really good.
they're like a very complete 40-man roster that has more guys coming. I'm thinking of like Frankie Montas, who they signed at the beginning of the year. Sean Manaea hasn't even pitched for this club, and they're going to be coming back at some point.
Blade Tidwell will be back up at some point. Like they have guys that are definitely here, and I think they've got a handful of really good prospects on the way too, don't they? Prospects for the let's look at it through here. Brandon Sproat. Oh, Drew Gilbert. It shouldn't be too. I think he'll probably play this year at some point. Ronnie Mauricio's already up. I think the
Getaway.
next guy, Brandon Sproat and Drew Gilbert, are probably the next two. Jet Williams is down at Double A right now, but he is a very highly ranked prospect. I would not be surprised to see him at Triple A here soonish. And if they need him and he's playing well at Triple A, then he'll probably get a call. But
Also, we got to give credit to Pete Alonso, though. He's having an insane season.
oh yeah, he definitely deserved the contract he asked for, and not the one that he got.
Well, it sounds like he's going to get it now after this year. So props to him for the massive platform season in his second attempt at it.
17 home runs.
With a 301 average, 396 OVP, slugging almost 600. Just awesome stuff.
He's legitimately OPSing 990.
Yeah,
How many guys are over 1,000? You know, I,
very
I
short list.
I was gonna say I can look it up real quick. Um, shoot, they actually have. Yeah, here we go.
There,
There are so Pete Alonso is fifth in the league in OPS.
I
Uh,
know Judge is number one.
yeah, and that should surprise nobody. Judge is
Assuming
at
Otani's,
1.264.
I'm assuming Otani's on the list.
Tani is number 3. Cal
Okay.
Raleigh, your home
Yeah.
run leader, catcher for the Seattle Mariners, Cal Raleigh, is OPSing 1.035. Otani, 1.021. Freddie Freeman, perfect 1,000. Yeah. Alonso is having a great season. And
Hmm.
Alonso's not even the best hitter on that team right now.
I think he is.
Francisco Lindor.
Really.
I mean, home runs, yeah, obviously Pete's got it. But overall, pretty sure
Oh,
it would
I think
be.
Alonso's been the best hitter on the team. I mean, you just listed the
Oh, yeah,
OPS leaders in the
sorry. I,
league.
I had it I had it sorted by war leaders. Francisco Lindor is leading in war, but he also isn't a first baseman, so he gets positive war being a shortstop and being good at it.
And he's been himself. He's been the
Oh yeah, he's
future Hall
still
of Famer that
he's still
he is.
40% above average hitting, 14 home runs, 283, 354, 488. Like Lindor is incredible. You are correct that Alonso is the better hitter. But I haven't seen Alonso steal 13 bases.
True.
So
That's not hitting.
no, but it is hitting adjacent.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of think we might have talked about the NL East so long that I don't know that we have time for the other thing we wanted to talk about.
That's okay. That's all right. We can save it.
Right. So that is our take on Red Sox and 3/5 of the National League East. We didn't even mention the Nationals team that is doing kind of what we thought they would do, which is be a little bit less than good, but being very solid. And a Miami Marlins team that doesn't deserve to be talked about. It's not nearly as bad as the Rockies, who finally got to the 10-win mark, I might add.
Yeah. They had a
They,
big 3-game winning
they,
streak.
they swept a series.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, did they sweep it or they won 3 out of 4?
I thought they swept one.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, like we didn't even get to talk about the whole division, but it's been an interesting one. We'll definitely keep an eye on it, and we will talk to you guys next week.
If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.